Hey, Donny Walker here. Just finished porting a couple 461s and a 500. And earlier I thought, you know what? I got this big mercury disston sitting here that I showed you the other day. I was telling you I left one at Buckins with the bar and chain, which I'll need the bar and chain back to run this one. But I loosened this thing up. It was seized. I took the fan housing off of this great big flywheel that they used, big cooling fan. It's quite the flywheel, eh? It's like 12 inches across. Amazing. It must move a lot of air across those two cylinders. These things are only, oh man, I just had it in my mind there. I forget the CCs. But a 2-cylinder, 3 big thick rings in it. And it's got a little slight score to it, but the rings are all moving. I'll get this running. My next step is to get sparks, so I'm gonna get that flywheel off or cooling fan and figure out the spark system. 15 thou point gap, what I read up on Mike Akers' Chainsaw Collector's Corner. But pretty neat exhaust system. This thing was really easy to work on. It was like about 6 bolts to get this whole frame off. 1 bolt still seized, but I was able enough to move it around to get the mufflers off. The mufflers are pretty unique. They're just a can muffler. This sits down on the kind of concave manifold of the exhaust with these studs that sit up with 1/4-inch bolts. Pretty simple. So the exhaust goes into this can and out this stinger tube here. Out, eh? So there's 2 of them on it, obviously, twin cylinder. Someone mentioned to me that this model didn't have diaphragm carburetor. Well, it does. It's got an old Tillotson made in Toledo, Ohio, not in Ireland. Someone can maybe let me know about that. When did Tillotson actually come from, Ireland, or did they come from Toledo, Ohio? Did they move to Ireland, or did Ireland move to there? I'm not sure. This is the diaphragm out of it. Hard as a rock. I just happened to have a RK114 HL kit here, an HL carb kit. Very similar diaphragm. The holes are slightly different for the bolt holes, but I'll make new bolt holes on this new diaphragm so I can use this one. It's a little harder on this crispy critter here. Pretty neat. I'll give you a little show over here. Clutch looks in good shape. All the fiber shoes look good on it. And like I say, don't want to run it without not having the clutch drum over it, so it doesn't fall. Maybe I'll take it off to run it or put the bar and chain on. Here's the 2 cylinders. You see in there, up and down. Here's the fuel pump. Looks like it runs off a pulse system in the reed cage. I'll get that off at a later time and show you how all that works and clean it all up. So yeah, Tillotson carburetor. Here's your metering diaphragm. Screw here to take the screw out to get to the metering diaphragm. This little screw here, I kind of believe it's just to get into that spring in there. I'll let you know when I take it apart. It's got a 1 adjuster over here. So it is an adjustable carburetor with 1 jet. So we'll see how that works. There's a switch down in there. All the wires are corroded, but I'll get them all cleaned up and get it some spark. All the throttle mechanism seems to be here. I'll take the fuel tank off or just clean it out and check out all the flow of it, make sure it's all good before I even try to run it. So yeah, then once I get it running and working, I'll get out to Buckets with that bar and chain and we'll make a cut with it. Me and him are going to do it and drag my dad along as well. So these were made in the early 50s. Now, my one motor I got, which had the Wajax fire pump set up for it. On the cover, it's got this name, Kiekhofer. Carl Kiekhofer. Just Kiekhofer though, not Carl. Carl Kiekhofer is the engineer that kind of designed these motors, and there's quite a bit of history about this guy and the Henry Disston and Sons as well, of different patents and different stuff they're doing. But you go into Mike Akers' Chainsaw Collector's Corner, and there's a lot of information on it. You look it up on Wikipedia and you can find out about this fella. Kiekhofer, I thought it was maybe a German name, German name, so I thought maybe these motors were made in Germany, and Mercury and Disston put their name on it, but it doesn't look that way. They're made in the U.S., and that's great. But yeah, interesting. So that's my little sideline thing I'm doing. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, look up the history of this fella. He's interesting, man. He worked for Evinrude to begin with, but he couldn't stand that they weren't too thorough, and he moved on to do his own stuff with Mercury and whatever else he did. But yeah, good history there. So spend the time, read up on it. Maybe you'll learn something a little more than I know. Which ain't hard, eh? So yeah, that's my start of it. At least it's turning over. We'll get some spark, get the fuel system working. I'll get it running. Get my dad to give me a bit of a hand too. So yeah, man, end of August already. Can you believe it? Jeez. Time just flies by. I'm heading over. I'm going to go camping Friday night with my dad. And then Saturday I'm going to Vancouver to meet up with Shelly. She's coming back from Kelowna. She's going up there with her mom and her sister for a little getaway. Then we're going to go to the P&E and see Randy Bachman, BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive. And I believe, I think the other, is he Bachman Turner? Yeah. That'll be good. I haven't seen him for a couple of years. Randy Bachman's a local fellow who's has a place in Ontario, I believe, and also here on Salt Spring Island, where Shelley's from. So a lot of the locals know him. He's getting pretty old, so it'll probably be the last time we see him. Anyways, and Shelley's also taking our little doggy Fozzie over there to stay with Kaylee, her daughter, for a couple of days. So when I get over there, I'll meet up and pick up the dog too afterwards. So yeah, there we go, the Mercury project. I'll keep this going and show you what else I do on him. But I better get back to the shop and get some more saws done for Buddy Ron out there in Ontario, and a couple 461s for Roga Corporation, and 500 for another friend of mine there. So yeah, busy. Keep your saw wood, sticking nice, rubbing the road. Enjoy the rest of summer. Hopefully it'll be good still for another month or so until we get to our rainy season again in the wet coast of Canada. Oh, by the way, check out Jim's saws and stuff. He did a little video yesterday on the 7310 Echo about the top cover bolts that he come up with a fix. Good one, Jim, and thanks for mentioning me on there. And yeah, people check out Jim's saw and stuff. He's got some interesting videos and stuff he's doing. Okay, have a good week. Check out the WalkerSawShop.com online store. And again, keep your saw on the wood. Bye.